Double earplug.
This is my audience.
Professor
Okay.
Mike.
Professor Michael.
Professor Mike.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Alright. What's the heaviest you've ever lifted?
That's a deep question. I don't know.
I think back to my powerlifting days.
Maybe 365.
365 pounds.
Probably.
You?
Probably like 125.
125 pounds. You?
I think 385.
385 pounds. Alright. Now imagine lifting 2.5 tons per stone for 3 pyramids. That's what the ancient Egyptian civilization did. Hello, my name is Sean Boyd, and I will be giving my speech on the pyramids of Giza. They say it's a mystery how the pyramids were built, but most people think it was from the bottom up because the top down would have been pretty difficult. The pyramids of Giza were created by the 4th dynasty of the ancient Egyptian civilization in between the years 2575 and 2465 BC, before Christ. These are photos of what the ancient civilizations could have looked like. Just an idea.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So there are 3 total pyramids of Giza. The biggest stood at 418 feet. The second biggest stood at 300 feet. And the third and smallest stood at 218 feet. The pyramids were made for a pharaoh along with his 2 sons. The pharaoh's name was Pharaoh Khufu, and his sons' name were Khafre and Menkaure. Kind of a hard name to pronounce, Egyptian. Menkaure, the youngest son with the smallest pyramid, also had the pyramid that included the Sphinx, which is that dude right there, that dude right down there. Yeah.
Lion-like thing.
It's a cat. So, and then here's some photos that show the size of the blocks compared to some people. The size of the blocks compared to people.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
2.5 tons?
So the stones differed in sizes. The weights varied. The smaller ones weighed about 2.5 tons, and the larger, bigger blocks were 15 tons. There was 2.3 million total blocks in the largest pyramid, which I'm not sure what that math is, but that is a lot of weight being moved. Now you might wonder, how exactly did the blocks get to their location? Because they didn't build them there. And the answer was the blocks were transferred by boat through the Nile River. Here's a photo of the boat they used. Yeah, very cool. Photo of the boat. It was one, most of them was 1 block per boat because, as you know, the blocks were so big they couldn't put multiple on there. So you can just imagine 2.3 million blocks in 1 pyramid. How many boat trips could that have been? We will never know. Well, I guess we could do the math, but there are 2 ways that people believe the pyramids were built. The first was a sort of a dirt ramp creation, mud creation, with like a railroad type of system in which they pushed and pulled the blocks up, continuously stacking until they reached the peak. Here's some photos of the first idea.
Okay.
Cool. And the second idea was actually kind of the same idea, a ramp, but it was internal. They built the pyramids from the inside, and the blocks were outside of them. So it was kind of like a zigzag up the walls until the peak. Here's photos of such examples. Photos of examples of the second way. It's still not known today, for a matter of fact, of how they were actually built. It is still a mystery, and probably will be a mystery for the rest of our days, because there's not any scripture or any evidential proof of the exact way they were built. I now have a 25-second YouTube video to play, which I will now.
Sides climb at an angle of slightly less than 52 degrees, rising to a summit of 480 feet. But how did they manage to maneuver 2.5 ton and almost all such an incredible height? Believe that sometime around
What happened? What's going on?
It's only 2 videos at once.
Believe that
Sorry.
some kind of ramp was used to raise the stone blocks.
That's the
The
ramp.
type of ramp remains a mystery. Did they approach the pyramid straight on? Zigzag up one side? Or spiral around it? It's not a
That's all I have for the video. Just another guy yapping. Okay. So you know today when you look at the pyramids, it kind of looks like a mess, you know, bricks broken apart, brown, dirty. But back then they were smoothed down, painted white with a golden tip. This is a photo of now and then, back then.
Can we see that? Oh, okay. Oh.
The angles, the sides were smooth as well, and it symbolized the rays of the sun, and it was to help ascend the king to heaven, which was the whole point of the pyramids, by the way. The pyramids were pretty much a burial site for the kings and the king's son to give them a quicker way to heaven, and inside, next to their body, surrounded them with their needs. So for example, here's a slide of the needs and the pharaoh's mummy. So that's what was included. Pharaoh's mummies and items needed in the afterlife, such as fishes, food, equipment, chairs, beds, tapestry, stuff like that. Unfortunately, over the years, the pyramids have been raided on and on by, you know, Egyptian raiders, people that came from across the world that wanted a piece of the history. So here's some photos of the pharaoh's mummies. That's a recreation, but this is also a guy digging, panning, which is illegal now, unless you're obviously with like a architectural company, something like that. Photos. That's one of the main problems with the decay of the pyramids was other people actually. That's why it's illegal to climb them as well. And in the end, the pyramids have lasted a relatively long time. It's been about, I'm not sure the math on those years. We could add them up approximately, but yeah, in the end, in conclusion, the pyramids were 3 total pyramids, one at 418 feet, one standing at 300 feet, and one standing at 213 feet, made for Pharaoh Khufu and his 2 sons, Menekari and Khafra, something like that. I forgot his name once again, kind of hard to pronounce. So like I asked you before, what's the heaviest you ever lifted? A few hundred pounds. Now imagine 2.5 million tons up a ramp to the peak of a pyramid, 2.3 million times, 3 times. My name is Sean Boyd, and that was my informative speech on the pyramids of Giza. Thank you.